the Pentagon Papers, had such a huge, profound impact on our discourse in our society. It seems that the Afghan Papers did not. So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, there's a fast one. You're right. It's true what you just said. Now, the Afghan papers showed at the field level and sort of the mid-staff level that they understood very well they were making no progress and there was no prospect of making any progress. And the Pentagon Papers showed that at the highest level. It's a higher level than the Afghan people had access to. The Pentagon Papers had no effect on Nixon's policy. They affected the American public's attitude toward the war quite significantly, but they were already against the war. And Nixon knew that, and that wasn't keeping him from pursuing it. And a year after the Pentagon Papers, which were in 50th anniversary is June 13th, 1971. Now the 50th is 2021. A year after, in 72, was the heaviest bombing of the war, leading in December to the heaviest 2 weeks bombing in human history of Hanoi and other places. So that looked as though there had been zero effect of any of this on the actual policy. Now, just go ahead. At that point, when I was very, very discouraged, the reality was Nixon had already taken crimes against me in 71, and 72, which when they were revealed in 73, faced him with impeachment, conviction, not just impeachment. And he had to resign, and that made the war endable. That was unforeseeable in early 73. After a landslide election, one of the biggest in history, the chance that Nixon would be out of office was not low, it was zero before 77, which is impossible. Like the Berlin Wall coming down as of, let's say, 83, that it would come down in 89, impossible. Yet both of those happened. And they happened as a result of, various people working at the impossible, one way or another. In the case of Vietnam, Nixon's concern that I would reveal information about his policy, which I was revealing, but I didn't have documents, and his fear that I would reveal documents led him to take crimes against me to shut me up that were actually amazingly revealed. Unmistakably, and he got caught for them. He wasn't the first president to do stuff like that, or the last, but he got caught while he was still in office, and it confronted him with conviction. So you can never tell, as I said earlier to Bob, what the ripples from these things would be. Now, on the Afghan papers, here's a difference. It's grim difference in a way. In terms of public attitude, the Pentagon Papers did catch people's attention because we were in a war where, let's see, in 71, we still had, I've forgotten exactly how many, but a couple 100,000 people. The next year, big offensive. Let's see, I could tell you, in 69, in 68, we lost 15,000 men. All this time we're killing 10 to 1, when it comes to Vietnamese for dying and refugees. 15,000 in 68. Instead of the war ending in 69, which it would have under Humphrey, I believe, by the way, now looking back, but people thought it might under Nixon, it didn't end. 10,000 died. Same number as 67, the year before Ted. That's 69. 70, about 7,000. I think, again, the same as 66. He was going down at the same rate we'd gone up in terms of this. So the point is, we were still losing a lot of Americans. In Afghanistan, losing hardly any Americans, very few. What's the problem? Well, the problem, we're bombing Afghans, we're killing Afghans, we're causing refugees, we're causing total ruin. Here's the sad thing. Americans can live with that for a long time. They've lived with it for 20 years in Afghanistan. Had Vietnam gotten down to where Nixon wanted it to be in 73 and more or less achieved without Watergate, where our only contribution is air power, The Vietnam War could have gone on for another 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whatever. When will Afghanistan really stop? Biden comes in to end Afghanistan, and today he says it's going to be tough to carry out Trump's schedule of getting them out by May 1st. Well, all right, logistically, that might be somewhat tough, whatever, that's what he's saying. So he says it'll be delayed a little more. How much more? His team doesn't want him to get out any more than Trump's team wanted him to get out. So we'll see what happens there. So that's the answer to your question. We've gotten the Afghan war down years ago to a point where we're only killing Afghans, not losing Americans. And I wish I could say that that portended we'd get out of it, but it doesn't. So, however, after the American troops got out, after they got out, the Americans did act as if they had some care about the Vietnamese. They didn't want to keep bombing them. And the Indochina Peace Campaign and others did help to keep the money off. And that made the war endable. And that could happen now if people understand. We don't have the right to kill any Afghans or Iraqis or Somalis or any of those. We don't have any right to kill any of them. And we should be out of there.